take you, if I can, to a place that's far away from this courtroom, far away from San Antonio, far away from Texas. A beautiful place, a tropical place, with beaches where the sand is so white it looks like snow, and the ocean so blue you can't tell where the water begins and the sky ends. Not a cloud in the sky, just a clear blue dome. Teak furniture and white linens, fresh fruit, nuts, berries, spiced rum, coconuts right off the tree. And there's Judy. Soaking up the sun, watching her kids play in the surf. Their skin brown, their hair blonde from the sun. And then there's Larry, sprawled out on a towel or two. But who's that third person? That's not you. Who's the third guy? He's a big guy with a mole right next to his eye. Who is that? All the while, Mario running around San Antonio, searching dive bars, dump motels, looking for his worthless wife and his so-called friend. If that picture seems unrealistic to you, I agree. It is. It's a little too exotic, first of all. Come on. More like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Panama City, Florida. And come on, her kids wouldn't be there. She hates her kids. She'd have a nurturing bone in her body. If Mario's in the joint, the kids aren't with her mother, they're at social services. She doesn't have her kids on that trip. But can't you see her, though? Judy, sprawled out in a chair, chicken wing bones at her feet, Coors Light cans scattered about. She takes the Marlboro from her mouth, wipes the hot sauce from her face, just long enough to say, "My husband Mario, what a dumbass." And you know, I love you, man. You know that I do, but she's right. You're just not that smart. That's not unrealistic, and aside from the location, which we've now set straight, that would be a reality, but for three things. Judy's ignorance, her greed, and most importantly, her big gaping hole of a mouth. "Larry, I just want what's mine. Give me my share of the money and I'm going back to Mama's house. Cheaters is on." And but for those three things, that picture is still a reality. In 5 years, well, 85% of 5 years, we'll talk about that more in a minute. And for you to believe otherwise, and for them to ask you to believe otherwise, requires you to believe in a set of coincidences the likes of which this room has never seen. It would have to just be a coincidence that Mario tells the police, "Hey man, I was in New Braunfels, Texas when this robbery went down at the bus station." Meanwhile, Judy's mother, not his mother, Judy, tells the grand jury, "Yeah, Mario called from a bus station, and we know it wasn't San Antonio because buses were leaving for San Antonio." That would have to just be a coincidence. I guess it's also just a coincidence that Mario tells the police, "Hey, the Saturday after this robbery, I was running around San Antonio looking for Judy, looking for Larry." Judy's mother, again, says, "Yeah, he called me, looking for Judy, looking for Larry, San Antonio." That would have to just be a coincidence. I guess it's also just a coincidence that Teller Osmond and Arnold Ashen said the robbers were the same size and both big men. I guess that's just a coincidence. I guess it's also just a coincidence that Teller Dawson, the teller who got the closest look at the person who robbed her, said that the robber had a mole, and Mario doesn't have a mole. Is that just a coincidence? And look, if you haven't seen this coming, here's what's going to happen. All right, you ready? Oh, we know Mario, before the robbery, painted him almost. Didn't tell anybody. And after the robbery, wiped it off. Just to fool the very people that he was supposedly conspiring with to rob the place. They probably won't do it now because I made fun of it, because you could see that was where that was going. How many important facts can they ask you to ignore? I don't know, but not this many. There's more. There's more. I guess it's just a coincidence that this money never makes it to Missouri, contrary to what Judy says, so we know she's a liar, if that were at all an issue. Never makes it to Missouri, and Larry sees Judy mailing the money to somewhere else. Someone else. Here's my favorite coincidence. I guess it's just a coincidence that Judy and Larry are caught in a Fleabag motel together without Mario, with the money, the gun, the getaway car, the keys to the car. Let me see. Money, gun, bank robbery. Is it me? It seems so obvious. Is it just me? It's them, right? It seems so obvious. Well, I don't think it's me. I think it's them. And I don't think those things are coincidences. There's no such thing as a bad coincidence in this room with this cast of characters. But for the next few minutes, I will entertain the idea that it's me, and that these are all coincidences. And I'll start by giving them credit. I give them credit. They were meticulous, thorough, detailed in the way they presented this to you. 200-something exhibits. I lost count of the number of Ziploc bags. Let's look at some of the exhibits. Oh! Map of San Antonio, Texas. Just in case you forgot where you lived, just to keep you oriented throughout the process. That's where we are. Oh, a close-up. Show where the bank is, right there. See? For all your banking needs. Isn't that neat? Right there. That's what it is. Next. Oh, the outside of the bank, so you know what it looked like. But interestingly enough, where no witnesses, no other independent evidence, nobody can put Mario. But if you want to know what it looks like, that's it. Next, please. Inside the bank, again, no one can place Mario, no one sees Mario. Next. Oh, I'm surprised they even brought you this one. The outside of the Fleabag Motel, where Judy and Larry are caught, and where, you can rent rooms by the hour, and adulteresses and meth cooks fornicate like animals, count cash like criminals, and lay low until the heat's off. But where again, nobody can place Mario. Next. Oh, the inside of the motel, room 218, where Larry and Judy are found. I deleted the chapter. I am now the sheets in room 218. You are most welcome. What? Not hair, not a fiber, no DNA, no physical evidence, no forensic evidence, nothing. Fingerprint, footwear impression, nothing. Place him there. Oh, I'm sure there's DNA in those sheets. I'm sure of it. But not his. Next, please. Oh, Larry's shotgun that he used in the robbery. Hey, look. I know y'all were listening better than they were. The place was robbed, okay? I said it in opening. It was robbed by people with guns, wearing disguises who took money. Look, trials are about things that we dispute, what we disagree about. One side says this, another side says this. They don't have to prove to you things that we don't disagree about. The place was robbed. It's just, look, it's this little game that they play, okay? It's as if, oh, well, look, the more things that we prove to you, beyond any shadow of a doubt, the more things that we tell you are true, well, then you must just assume that everything we say is true, and they'll hope that you'll fill in the blanks for them. It doesn't work that way. This wasn't a 2-week trial. This wasn't a 200 exhibit trial. It was a 2-witness trial. We'll say more about that in a minute. Next. Mario's gun, which I guess is supposed to be the gun that he used in the robbery. Interesting that Mario would keep the gun and ditch the $30,000. We'll say more about that in a minute. But the most important issue, most important exhibit, the best one, my favorite, makes it crystal. Mario robbed the bank! Oh no! We don't have that in it. I mean, come on, how many excuses do they get? How many excuses does the federal government get when they ask to send somebody to prison? How many times can they ask you to ignore the evidence that's missing but should be there? I don't know, not this many times. And you know what else? No one said that that camera wasn't working the day before. When Mario and Biggin are supposedly scouting this place out, where are those images? You know, Mario, I'm starting to wonder about you. Is there more to you than meets the eye? How is it that you can be more than one place at a time? Move from town to town so stealthily, almost transparent and featureless. You some superhero? I know. I got it. That's it. That's it. You're the invisible man. That's the only thing that makes sense, right? How many physical impossibilities can they ask you to embrace and still believe that this thing happened the way they say it did? I do know the answer to that. It's none. Here's what they'd have you believe. Thank you. Mario scopes out this bank without being seen, without being captured on video, somehow sprouts a mole that later disappears, creates an unwitting alibi in Judy's mother, not once but twice. I mean, why would he do that? Well, I guess he thinks he's going to get caught, right? So he makes this strategically timed call to Judy's mother, playing all dumb. Oh, where's Judy? Where's Larry? Come on, he planned that? Again, I love you. You know that, but you're just not that smart. Ditches the 30 grand and keeps the gun. The one piece of physical evidence that supposedly links him to this crime, and he keeps it? So what would that have been like? He's trying to get away. Oh, the money or the gun, I can't keep them both. Oh, I know. I'll ditch the money in case I need to buy more money with the gun. Oh! How much sense does that make? It doesn't make sense because it didn't happen. And goes where? Mexico? Canada? Missouri? Anywhere other than San Antonio, Texas? The one city on the planet Earth where he knows they'll be looking for him? Where the robbery happened? Come on. I know, you must be a criminal mastermind and a buffoon at the same time. A genius on the one hand, a moron on the other. An enigma to be studied by research scientists, the subject of film and books. No, I don't believe it. You're far too simple. And that's why I like you. I certainly would never plan a robbery with you. And how do you know that it didn't happen the way that they say it happened? Well, I mean, aside from logic and common sense. Oh, and, isn't that their mantra? Day in and day out. Oh, just use your common sense. You've been judging people all year. Yeah, you know what? I dare them to say that in this case. Please, I implore you, use your common sense. It won't say it this time. How else do you know it didn't happen this way? Because there are no zebras running wild in the state of Texas. It's a saying, if you're in the American Southwest, or Texas, or anywhere in the United States, and you hear hoofbeats, you don't think it's a zebra, right? Knowing nothing else, it's a horse. You can come up with some way that it could be a zebra. I don't know. Circus is in town and the zebra got loose. In the settling of Michael Jackson's estate, Neverland Ranch moved to San Antonio, zebra gets loose. It's possible. But what reason is there to think that? You know, the simplest explanation is almost always the truth. I have to admit that this is something that my doctor tells me all too often. I'm a bit of a hypochondriac, Mrs. Trevor. Just this week, I thought I caught that thing that Daryl and Rosie had. I was freaking out. Every time there's the latest pandemic disease on the CNN, whether it's SARS or Asian flu or that thing with the birds, and I get the sniffles, I'm at the doctor, freaking out. Oh, doc, I think I got that SARS thing. I think I got that Asian flu thing. Why? I was like, well, look, the symptoms. I got cold sweat, I've got the chills, it's a respiratory thing. Well, yeah, baby, you been to Asia lately? No. Been around any birds that just up and died? Sounds really unexpected. No. Oh, I know, Doc. I know what it was. I was in the Denver airport on my way to Salt Lake City, and I was sitting next to a guy, and he was reading a pamphlet about Singapore. See, that's where I got it. No, you don't have it. You've got a cold. But look, Doc, the symptoms they're really similar. Because you don't think it's a zebra if you hear hoofbeats. Go home, drink some juice, stay off the television, no CNN for a month, and definitely don't get on that WebMD thing. You know, the truth is rarely that complicated. It doesn't require excuses. It doesn't ask you to ignore what's missing. It doesn't require leaps of faith. It doesn't require you to fill in the blanks or connect the dots. It doesn't require you to believe in the implausible, much less contradictory, and it sure doesn't require the suspension of the laws of physics and the constraints of space and time. It's never that complicated. Mario, how can you be two places at the same time? How'd you get from San Antonio to Live Oak? I mean, forget without anybody seeing you. How'd you get there at all? Oh, I know. You took the car. No, Judy and Larry had the car. Well, at the very least, you made that strategically placed call to Judy's mother on your cell phone. No, cell phones hadn't been invented yet. I know what you did. Because I did it. It's the only thing that makes sense. You rented a zebra from somewhere. You galloped down Highway 35 from Live Oak to San Antonio as the Invisible Man wearing one sequin glove. Stranger things have happened. No! Stranger things than that don't happen. Except perhaps you asking us to believe these witnesses, and that's a photo finish. That's a close call. How's this finish? Let me try. Just let me try once. How's this for an explanation? He wasn't there. And anyone who says he was there is lying. Because they don't want to go to prison. Don't shake your head. Come on. It's not that complicated. It's simple. You know why? Because it's true. And don't you know that if Mario was there, they wouldn't have to cut deals with liars, cheats, and thieves and ask you to sign off on it. If prayer is the last refuge of a scoundrel, an immunity agreement from prosecution with the federal government is an oasis in the desert for a three-time loser. And that, my friends, is Judy. She can't go back. She can't go back to prison. She knows Hooters won't deliver wings to federal penitentiary. She can't go back. Can you trust these people? I mean, come on. If there was a diabetic that was short on insulin and couldn't get to his syringe, big, use my rig, man, it's clean, go right ahead. Would you? No. The floodwaters are rising. The news is telling everybody, pack your things, get your family, and get out. Judy says, I've heard that before. I'm not going anywhere. My kids are playing outside. Fine. Would you believe her? You know, you wouldn't. These are rhetorical questions. I hope you understand the answer's no. And it needn't be anything so dramatic. I mean, would you seek their advice on where to send your kids to school, whether to take a new job in a different town? Would you buy a used car from them? No, you wouldn't. And if you wouldn't trust them in the most mundane matters of your own life, you can't trust them with the most important thing in someone else's life. Well, I can hear him right now. Oh, well, he's saying this is all some setup, you know, and they did this robbery with somebody else and then framed Mario and let an innocent person go. No, I'm not saying that. You know, they weren't expecting to get caught. I'd like to think if they expected to get caught, they wouldn't have done it. They weren't expecting to get caught, you know, red-handed in the hotel with the money and the gun. Whoops, you know. But when they did, you know, they had to find something to grasp onto. That's him. So you might say, all right, well, why not roll on the guy with the mole? Why not tell the truth? Well, I can think of 30,000 really good reasons why they wouldn't tell the truth. Where's the money? That's what I want to know. Where is the money? The best evidence that there's a third person involved in this thing, and it's not Mario, is the money is missing, and Judy C. mailing it to somebody else. What else is missing? Don't you know that if there was anything other than the last-ditch attempt to cling to freedom on the part of these less-than-savory losers, they would have brought it to you? And, you know, they pretend like this is no big deal, but they don't like this. They know this is bad. But why isn't there, I don't know, for example, someone, anyone, placing Mario at the bank, at the motel, walking, I guess, down Highway 35 from Live Oak, San Antonio? Why? Well, I can give you two reasons. Either they looked and they didn't find it, or they didn't look because they didn't care. And it doesn't matter which one. Because if they didn't look because they didn't care, it's shameful. And if I can't convince you that that's not fair to him, I hope I can convince you that that's not fair to you. And I'll say more about that in a minute. Don't show me the truth. I've already made up my mind. Don't tell me something that's different than what I've already decided happened. Well, I can hear him now. We did too look. We did too look. That's not fair. He's not being fair. We did too look. We tried to track down that money. Oh, and what happened? No. You didn't find it. Can't you see him? Bunch of feds, bunch of suits sitting around a big table. We're going to have some tough questions to answer. Got to track down that money. No. We talked to the moms out there. Okay, don't look anymore. Come on. So instead, what happened? How did we get here? It's not complicated either. Took Judy's story, good enough. Larry's story, good enough. And they closed the file. And like Pilate, washed their hands to seal his fate. Except for one thing. You are here. You're here, and they don't get to decide. Thank God in heaven that they don't get to decide this part of it. They don't get to decide whether he's guilty. Look, I'm glad through part of this that I made you laugh, but I don't want you to think that for me or for anyone else in here that this is any less than serious. Those of us that work in this room all the time, we do this all the time, and they do it every day. They ask people like you to send people like him to prison every day. And that's fun, it's their job, but it's not as meaningful to them as it has to be for you. And they need to respect that. And I don't think that they do. It's as if they've spit in the milk and they want you to drink it. They've taken a round peg and they've tried to smash it into a square hole and it's made a mess and they want you to clean it up. Nah, y'all clean it up. That's your deal. It's obvious that you're about to make the most important decision that anyone's ever going to make in his life. But it's also one of the most important decisions you're ever going to make in your own life. And because of that, they needed to bring you more than assertions from people that have all the reason in the world to lie. They need to bring you a case that will allow you to render a verdict not that you can live with, not that you can tolerate, but that you can be proud of, because it's your verdict. You know, you can't call me, for example, tomorrow and say, hey, you know what, I was thinking about some of those things you said, and I don't want to change my vote. No, you can't. And you can't think, because you've seen stories about somebody who spends time in prison and then gets out later, that, well, if we just get it wrong, somebody will straighten it out. No, it doesn't work that way. Other courts might look at decisions I've made, and other courts might look at decisions that this judge has made. But once you render your verdict, nobody can go behind it. Nobody can question it. It exists forever, in a day, in stone, and in blood. And today is the day. There are no recounts. There are no do-overs. This isn't a test run. This is real. If you last night read a bedtime story to your children, or if on your last vacation you felt the hot sand and cool surf between your toes, they don't want him to feel those things anymore. A child's first steps, a teenager's first love, graduations, birthdays, wedding vows, all gone. Sunsets, cool breezes, first snowfall, all gone and traded for cement and steel, iron bars and razor wire. It's all so real. I want to talk lastly about one other reality, a final reality. I want to go back to that beach. And there's Larry, and there's Judy, and there's the mystery guy with the mole, living it up in their own version of paradise. And meanwhile, Mario, instead of running around searching for his wife and would-be friend, is in a 6x9 cell, 23 hours a day, and he gets his meals through a slot in a steel door. That is real. And it's still a reality, a potential reality, 5 years from now. Well, 85% from 5 years from now, minus credit for time served. Because the money is out there. The man with the mole is out there. Judy sure ain't going anywhere. And Larry's going to be out in less than 5. And they're just waiting. They're waiting for the heat to die down and for this trial to end. And you know, maybe with your verdict, you cannot convince them of that reality. And maybe with your verdict, you cannot prevent that reality. But you can prevent one final injustice. And that's what this room is about, justice. It's not about winning. It's not about losing. There are no losers when justice is done. And today, justice means one thing, and it's the same thing for you as it is for Mario, and that is not just a coincidence. Unless ours is a world where Einsteins are imbeciles, where physical traits come and go at the whim of the prosecution, where people can be two places at the same time, where up is down and black is white, unless ours is a world where zebras run wild in Texas and you know that they don't, justice means nothing.